Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling, the second part of today's hot topic, which is Krumpus and Christmas monsters. In the last class, we read an article which gave us some interesting background about the traditions of Christmas, the dark side of Christmas. In this hour, we're going to use that as a springboard for discussion. We're going to talk about what these traditions mean, how they're tied together, how they've changed, maybe a little bit about how things have been commercialized, so we can compare Christmas in America that has kept some traditions and lost others, but become very commercialized, particularly where we left off with our Coca-Cola ad. Maybe I can find a link to it. So let's find out why, from now until January 6th, demons, witches, and monsters haunt Europe, but not America. Okay, we'll be talking about some of the links. First, let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. Tune in to the new words that you're learning. That means use them actively when you are speaking so I can give you feedback and I can correct you. Finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is all you need to know about me. Here is where we left off in our document. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a few questions. Give me just a second. I'm going to add a few questions as we go along. Nope, that's not what I want to show you. I want to show you, sorry, wrong page. I want to show you this. Where is it? Yes, that's what I want to show you. I'm going to go down to the comprehension section and the discussion section. Just give me a second for this to load. It's going to take a minute. All right. So, Sylvia, you're the only one who made it to the second part.
Yeah.
They were all abducted by Krumpus, or Krampus, however you say his name. Krampus. Let's see if this is loaded. Sorry, my computer's a little bit slow right now because I've got to. Okay, there we go. So, maybe what we can do is, before I get to some questions, maybe what I can do is go back to, let's pick up one article. It's not an article, just a little bit of one article that we brought up in the last class. This one here. Earlier we talked about the besnickles, the bellsnickles. And I've got an article from a local newspaper that talks a little bit about what they are. So if you go back here, let's go up to, give me a second, I'll find it. There we go. This thing about the Puritans that we were reading. In Appalachia and Pennsylvania Dutch country. Do you know who the Amish are, Sylvia?
No.
Let me see. Because now you've got these even reality TV shows with the Amish people in them. You'll probably recognize them if I show you a picture. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can show you a picture. Do you ever see a movie with Harrison Ford in the 80s called Witness? Harrison Ford plays a guy who has to hide from some kind of criminals, and he hides with Amish people in Pennsylvania. Here, you can see a picture now. Look familiar?
No. No.
Never saw that before? No? Oh
No.
my goodness. So in the middle of Pennsylvania, let me see if I
I
give a
know
better
who
bit of.
are Hamish, but
Ah, okay. So you do know.
I know who are the Hamish, but I don't know this film.
Okay, okay, but you know who the Amish people are, right?
Yes. Yes.
Here's a nice looking Amish man. Look at this guy. Look at that beard. Cool, huh?
Mm-mm.
What a cool beard. So, why am I talking about the Amish people? I forgot.
They haven't Christmas?
No, it was, I forgot what I was saying. Totally lost it. Uh, um, these are kind of like uh, these are kind of like the leftover Puritans because they came over later, but they're kind of similar, right? They have puritanical beliefs. They have to keep the traditions. By the way, do you know what language they speak?
No, but it's not English.
Not English.
And is it really old? It's incomprehensible, I think.
They they speak English because they have to interact with the community, but they are supposed to speak German. So
Ah,
so in the middle of America, in the middle of these farms in Pennsylvania, not far from Philadelphia, you've got a whole community of people, thousands, tens of thousands of people who grow up speaking German, German and English, and Old German too. And they have a special kind of English called Pennsylvania Dutch English because it has a different word order. The word order is like German. But anyway, this is a good example of something like Puritans in modern day America that still exist, one culture, though they came over a lot later. And I say that because here you've got Pennsylvania Dutch country over here. It's not letting me. Well, it's not letting
yeah.
me highlight anything. Okay, but anyway,
Yeah,
you can see it. So Appalachia is the Appalachian Mountains that run through Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania Dutch country is that area outside of Philadelphia, and it goes up. There's Amish even in Ohio and other places. So around that area, people would be um, people would be attacked by these marauders called the Belsnickles. So I've got one article just about the Belsnickles, the counter clause. So this is from a local newspaper in Pittsburgh, but I thought it was kind of interesting to get a little bit of background. So maybe we can take a look at the beginning of this. This is one thing I was going to say. So, really? I can't believe that no one else came back, Sylvia. What's going on?
I don't know.
I thought this was a fascinating article. Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Maybe I'm naive. I think here, culture's interesting, but everyone leaves. It makes me sad, Sylvia. I'm going to cry. I'm crying, Sylvia.
Maybe because no, it's the 26th.
Yeah, but it's no excuse. Look. Oh no, what happened? I lost my page. Oh, let's go back here. Santa Claus, the pleasant bearded elf dressed in red, in case you thought I was referring to some other Santa Claus, was not predestined to be the worldwide Christmas icon and beloved Coca-Cola pitchman. I don't know if we have. No, we don't. I thought it was a link to the original ad. How different how Christmases would be if the annual chimney descent of Sinterklaas had remained a Dutch folk custom instead America had embraced and then exported to the world a somewhat more curious and more frightening Pennsylvania tradition. So let's take a look at one of these. Uh, why don't you read about Sinterklaas and the Belsnickel?
Okay. Just a Sinterklaas gets his name from the 4th century bishop and Greek holy man, Nicholas. So does the mythic German figure known as Belznickel, also Belznickel or Pelznickel, or one of the several other spellings. Like Santa Claus and Jolly hold the Saint Nicholas, Belznickel brought gifts to children at the Christmas time, but that's more or less where the similarities end.
Keep going.
Doctor. While we think of Santa as a benevolent figure, Belznickel is, or used to be, more sinister, dressed in dark furs. The bells
Dark furs.
Furs.
That's it.
Furs. The bells translates roughly to fur in German. Roughly to fur in German, as in pelts or pelt, and Nichols seems to refer to the saint himself, Nicholas, treating children who don't behave with a switch thrashing, rattling his chains, and committing acts of vandalism, harassment, or even some light home invasion.
Sounds fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not good.
And that kind of reminds me of the picture we saw earlier. Remember, I was asking everyone, I don't know if you had come into class yet. So I showed some pictures from Portugal. These are traditional pagan festivals still going on at Christmas time in the north of Portugal. Everyone dresses up with masks, and they do mischievous things. Here we've got a similar one in Bulgaria. Here it's to scare away evil spirits. But then I showed this picture and I asked what he was riding, what the Krumpus character was riding. And we've got our answer. Because look, switch, thrashing, rattling chains, and committing acts of vandalism. Do you know what a switch is in this context? It's what he's on. It's what he's sitting on.
Okay. It's more like, okay, we have the Befana that he's flying with these, how do you call it, switch?
This is a switch, yeah, because it's like a bundle of sticks that are tied together, and you can use it as a broom. That's how you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So for us, it's the Befana with this one.
Okay.
Fly on the night.
So, anyway, so now we know what he's on. Monica earlier said broom. Actually, it's a switch, meaning that you just bundle sticks together. But a switch is something that you could also use to hit someone. Hit is thrash. So I think we saw that word somewhere here. I don't know where it is. Yeah, switch thrashing. Thrash is when you have like those Catholic purity rituals where people are whipping themselves, they have to punish themselves. They whip their backs.
Yes.
Like Opus Dei or something. So that's also thrashing. So you see that he's riding on that kind of. So switch is like, those branches, usually they're a little bit flexible, so they can be used like a whip. So a switch is more like that, like flexible branches you could use, kind of like a whip. You could whip yourselves. Here you're going to whip the kids. Okay, then it goes on to say, this part, Belznickel, one of St. Nicholas's companions, comes by us by the way of the German folklore, brought to eastern Pennsylvania by those German and Swiss immigrants who would later become known as the Pennsylvania Dutch. In other words, the Amish people. He may have been based on an older German myth, Rupert, the servant, who was the servant of St. Nicholas, or by some accounts, the servant of Christ himself. From the Christmas tree, we've got a poem from a famous 19th century poet, Samuel Coleridge, writer and poet. Formerly and still in the smaller towns and villages throughout Germany, these presents were sent by all the parents to some one fellow, who in high bushskins, a white robe and a mask, and an enormous flax wig, personate Knecht Rupert, the servant Rupert, On Christmas night, he goes around every house, and he says that Jesus Christ, his master, sent him thither. Thither means over there. The parents and older children receive him with great pomp of reverence, while the little ones are most terribly frightened. So it's kind of like another version of this, maybe an earlier version of this Krumpus character, or Krampus character. So that's a Belsnickel. Well, I think I've got one more thing here. What was I going to say? One more interesting thing. 1827. This is kind of funny. 1827. A Philadelphia newspaper described the Belsnickel's appearance like so. Mr. Belsnickel makes his appearance dressed in skins or old clothes, his face black, a bell, a whip, and a pocket full of cakes or nuts. And either the cakes or the whip are bestowed upon those around, as may seem to meet his sable majesty. So that's what we got. You got a choice, the whip or the gift. So it's this European tradition being passed on. Anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. So that's the Belsnickel. And I had a few others here we could look at if you like. Let me just see here. Let me get rid of this. There we go. Okay, for some reason my document is not cooperating with me. I had another article here which talks more about the Krumpus character particularly. And again, we don't have to read the whole thing, but I thought it was kind of a good introduction. Let me see if this is it. Yeah, this is it. So again, this is from like a local newspaper. These are some American tourists that are getting first-hand experience of this character. And here you can see someone dressed up.
Ooh.
See him?
Yeah.
And what's he got in his hand? Switch. Right. Switch.
But it's not the same that, okay, when you have you open the television and you want to change channel, it's not switch from one channel.
Yeah, it is. Because switch is this action of, like you flip a switch. It's that action of flipping something on or off. Flipping. And a switch is something that you flick, but it's going to hurt you. So it's like, so it's the same action, but it's also a noun in this case.
Okay.
All right. So I thought we could look at the beginning of this because it's kind of funny from Americans who are seeing this for the first time, because it's completely bizarre for us, right? We don't have this tradition anymore. So it starts off. I'll do this first part just to give you the background, and then I'll pass it over to you. Standing in the darkness, we eagerly awaited with the approaching horde. Snow fell in the tranquil alpine town of Bad Mitterndorf, as the cracking of whips and clanging of bells began to fill the air. This was not our first encounter with the monstrous Krampus, but until this point we were merely onlookers to the menace caused by St. Nicholas's evil companion. We had respect for Krampus, but we didn't fear him. That was about to change. Uh-oh. During the first week of December, in certain parts of Austria, people dress as the folkloric beast-like creature known as Krampus. The costumes differ in detail across the region, but generally consist of fur, long horns, a demonic mask, and a bundle of sticks used as a switch. The Krampus prowl the street, frightening, chasing, and flogging whoever crosses their path, in contrast to St. Nicholas, who rewards the well-behaved with gifts. Krampus punishes the wicked. Do you know what flogging is?
What is?
Flogging is right here. Chasing and flogging whoever crosses their path.
He was using his switch, so flagging. Usually it's on the back.
Right. Flogging is another way of saying whipping.
Yeah.
All right. So let's find out what happens to them. Want to take these next two?
Yeah. My girlfriend and I learned of Krampus from an Austrian friend who grew up celebrating the tradition in her hometown. She regaled us with
She regaled us.
Regaled us.
That means to tell a story, to regale us with a story, like tell a lively story or exciting story.
She regaled us with the details of demons going door to door, sanctioned by St. Nicholas to terrorize the weak. So to us it sounds like the inconspicuous combination of Halloween and Christmas, our favorite holidays. We were warned that Krampus was a malicious and violent character, but the chance to witness the tradition was too exciting to pass up. The ghastly appearance of Krampus is enough to cause fear, but unlike the amateur ghouls and ghosts of a haunted house,
Amateur.
Amateur? Is it French?
Yeah, but we say it too.
Amateur ghouls and ghosts of a haunted house who must keep their special hands to themselves and really solely on appearance to frighten. Krampus follows no such rules. While the intensity of focus of a Krampus in attack mode can be alarming, especially to tourists seeing it for the first time, much of the perceived threat is posturing by the monster and no real harm is caused. Krampus will hit you, but he aims for the legs and it only stings for a moment. The crowds of Austrians who turns out each year to revel in the Krampus spectacle.
Not to reveal, to revel.
To revel in the Krampus spectacle can attest to that.
So what do you think about that, Sylvia? Would you like to be part of that?
No. I prefer my Santa Claus.
I think they weren't expecting to be whipped.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's anything else I was going to read here. That was the main thing. Here, I'll just jump down to what happens later on. This is just so a guy and his girlfriend describing what happened, right? Just okay. Standing behind the barricade, we initially felt safe, but these Krampus, I guess that's the plural, Krampus were expert at the craft, and were only mildly impeded by the barrier. We witnessed some fairly savage floggings of legs that left victims in visible pain. Whenever a Krampus would approach, we'd recoil in terror, but luckily we managed to escape unscathed. On the walk back to our hotel, with cameras in hand, we decided that we had been given a pass because it was obvious to the Krampus that we were enthusiastic tourists who had no idea what we were getting into. So that was one thing. What else? And maybe one more. Okay, one more section here. When we visited Salzburg, we were in the early evening. In the city center was packed with people. So this is Salzburg, Austria. Was packed with people enjoying serene outdoor Christmas market, while others sipped hot drinks and soaked in the beauty of the surrounding Baroque architecture. We listened eagerly for the clang of the Krampus mob's approach. Unlike our first encounter with the Krampus, this time there were no barricades, nothing separating us from the beasts. Let's find out what happens, Sylvia.
When the Krampus descended on the crowd, we saw people run and hide while others eagerly joined the meal.
The melee.
Melee.
Melee is like chaos.
I don't know what is.
Melee is like chaos. Chaos?
I don't know.
You know. It's the same word in Italian. Chaos. Look in the chat window. Whoops, sorry. Chaos. Look in the chat window.
Ah, chaos.
Yeah, it's not chaos, it's chaos.
Chaos. I promise chaos.
I know. But in English,
It's without each. Okay.
but in
Yeah.
English we say chaos. That's right. So melee is chaos.
Chaos. These Krampus, who were accompanied by a Saint Nicholas, were considerably more aggressive than those in Graz. They were particularly brutal to anyone who taunted them or tried to retaliate.
That's right.
A particularly large and frightening Krampus chased down an offending teenager, threw him on the ground, and sat on his chest. The boy looked terrified and near tears at the time, but shortly after the Krampus let him go, he was joyfully telling his friends about his ordeal.
Jeez. It sounds pretty horrible to me.
It's also funny.
The narrow streets in the old city section of Salzburg were packed with pedestrians as the Krampus stomped through. Many people were caught unaware and reacted with terror. Some would flee and try to seek refuge in a shop or restaurant, only to be pursued by a determined Krampus. With so many easy targets, we again managed to escape largely unharmed. At times we were chased, jostled, struck, but compared with the brutality we witnessed, it was obvious we had been spared the full brunt of what Krampus could muster. The next night, when a Krampus group with a penchant for pitchforks and pyrotechnics plowed through the streets with a massive wooden cart, we were once again given a pass. So there's a little bit about what's happening today with the Krampus. I think that was it. Yeah. So you've got some other pictures there. So this is all very recent, these pictures. This is all this year. You can see the masks, St. Nick there. You've got the Krampus. You've got the pyrotechnic ones, the ones with the cart and the fire. And down here you've got a Krampus cake, a Krampus bread.
Yeah, they're from this year.
Yeah. So this is just like the other day. This is taken just recently. I mean, this is probably the 6th of actually, what's the date on this? It doesn't have the date. But anyway, yeah, it's all very recent. There you go. So that was a little bit of background on the Krampus. There's one more that I thought might be interesting. Take a quick look. Here, I just have a Wikipedia link, though. I don't have a whole lot. The Yule Goat. Here's one you probably haven't heard of. Am I right?
Also Krampus, because it's more in the north.
Right.
And,
Do you know what they call it in the north? Because Monica was saying that she knew it in the mountains, but she was in Vincenzo. It's Vincenzo, right? Not Vicenza.
Yeah, Vincenzo. Okay. No, but no, it's more in the north. Here there is more Befana, that it's really famous, and usually you have also some that I really love for breakfast. There are some cookies that are calling Befanotti.
Bifanotte.
Yes, they are not the same of gingerbread, but they have on the top this little ball of sugar, and on half of this chocolate, and for breakfast are really delicious. So yeah.
Bifanotte. Let's see. Let's take a look. Oh, no. Did I spell it right?
Or Befane also.
Bifane. Okay.
Because it's the second letter is wrong. B, it's not B. Cookies. This is the plural of the.
Bifane should be Bifana, right?
No, Befana is the woman who fly the night.
Right.
And she give us this cookie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay, Befane, but cookies maybe because they change also from place to place.
But you said also bifanote?
Bifanotti.
Noti.
Yeah.
Okay. Ricetta. Recipe. Ah, dolce. Ricetta. What's
Biscotti.
Biscotti. Ricetta is recipe, right?
Yes.
Not the biscotte. Let's see if we can get a picture. Hey.
And also every place changed a lot. Yeah,
I'll scroll down. You tell me if you see the ones like the ones you have. Which do these look like yours?
Yes, with the little ball, sugar ball on the top.
Like this one here? This?
Yes.
Ah. Bifanote.
Yeah.
There you go.
And every place they are different a little bit from place to place. So in my place they have also chocolate. It's divided in half. Half of this is this with these balls. The other half with chocolate on the top.
And what? It's not gingerbread, right?
No, it's not gingerbread, but it's really similar.
Similar. Okay. There you go. Bifanote. Befanote, but it should be befanote, isn't it? Not beef. Befanote.
Befanotti.
Befanote. And do we have the ricetta? Let's see if we can make it. Oops, I spelled it wrong. I spelled it. Beef.
Also the name, it's different from place to place because, okay, in my town are Befanotti. In the town it's less than 20 kilometers are called Befane. So they change a lot. Here there is also Befanini.
Befanini?
Yeah, they change also the name. It's so folkloristic that they change.
Befanini. I love Roberto Befanini's movies. You know Roberto Befanini?
So Befanini Toscani.
I was trying to make a joke, but it didn't work.
No.
I said I love the movies of Roberto Befanini.
Who is?
No one.
I don't know. Okay, I don't take the joke.
Because it sounds like Roberto Benigni.
Ah, Benigni.
Roberto Befanini. He made the movie. Li biscotte sono belle. I don't know. Here's Befanini Tuscany. From Tuscany. There you go. Let's see. Prendete una citola. What's a citola?
Citola is a hole.
It's a what? A hole?
Hole, yeah.
Prendete una. How do you say it?
Ciotola.
Ciotola, not citola. Ciotola. I gotta work on my pronunciation. Prende una ciotola y mettete. Mettete?
And put the power.
Put the flour.
3 eggs.
Flour. Flour.
Flour. Ah, yeah.
La farina, the flour. 3 eggs. Il burro morbizo. What's morbizo?
That is Morbiso. Ah, no, I don't know this. Maybe it's a kind of. I think it's a mistake. It's more morbido. So it's
Morbido.
yeah. That is not. How can I translate? Morbido. That it's soft.
Ah, okay.
And
Y
sugar.
lo zucchero impastate con le mani. Okay, so you put the sugar. What's impastate con le mani? With your hands, you do what?
You do like a pastry with your hand.
Ah, like you roll. You need dough, for example.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say a quick hello to Mutaz. How do I say your name? Mutaz? Is that
Hello.
right? How do I say your name?
Hello.
Yeah, how do I pronounce your name?
My name is Motaz.
Mutaz. Is that right?
Motaz.
Mutaz?
That's right.
Hope I got. Okay, very good. So Mutaz, you're here with me, John Eric, and Sylvia.
Sorry?
You're here with me, John Eric, and Sylvia.
John Eric?
That's me, I'm the teacher.
Okay.
And Sylvia. This is the second part of our class about Christmas traditions, about the dark side of Christmas. Can you hear me okay?
Okay.
I don't think
he's
listening.
My friend?
Ah, there he is. There he is.
No, I just put the headset.
Okay. And where are you from, Motaz?
From Sudan.
From Sudan.
I live in Saudi Arabia, but I am from Sudan.
And you're in Saudi Arabia now, is that right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, great. So, we've been talking about unusual traditions from Christmas.
Okay.
And I'll share with you the link from the article we read. Actually, I'll put it on screen and I'll share it with you. We've already read this article because this is a 2-hour class actually, but let me just share quickly. Here in the class material, you can see Hot Topic, Krumpus, and Christmas Monsters. And I'll put that link for you if you want to open it. So we've been reading this article, which you can see on screen right now.
Okay, I open the link.
And
my friend, in Saudi Arabia there is no Christmas and
of course not.
Yeah, but I will follow the class right now. Just wait for me because I opened the tradition Christmas file. Yeah.
Okay. So we've been talking about this unusual character and other demons and monsters. In Europe, there's a tradition of not just the happy Christmas, but the scary Christmas, the frightening Christmas. And you can see one of the characters, one of the traditional folklore characters. So Sylvia and I were talking about some of those traditions, and we've already read the article. There was the first hour we did some reading with the big class. In the second hour, it's just me, Sylvia, and now you. And what I'm doing, if I scroll down to the 4th page, I've been looking at some of the other traditions. I have some other links here as well. So we read about Krampus a moment ago, and I've got 2 others that we can talk about as well. So these are unusual Christmas traditions. Okay, so we'll talk about those, and we can talk a little bit about traditions where you live as well, even if there's no Christmas. There are holidays as well, so we can talk about how they're different, how they're the same. So here's 2 more that we can take a look at. The first one there is the Yule goat. This is in Scandinavia. So let's see how similar or different this is from some of the other characters we've been talking about. Um, maybe I just have a Wikipedia article here, but maybe we can take a quick look. Give me a second here. I don't know if you've seen this picture before, but if you go to IKEA, if you go to IKEA, they sell these things. I lived in Stockholm for a while, and I've seen these traditional looking things. Let's find out a little bit about it. So, Sylvia, why don't you start us off? We'll just read a little bit about it, and then I'll go to you, Mutaz, afterwards. Go ahead, Sylvia.
Okay, history. Okay, the Yule Goat's origins might go as far back as pre-Christian days. A popular theory is that the celebration of the goat is connected to the worship of the Norse god Thor, who rode the sky in a chariot drawn
in a chariot
drawn by two goats, Tanningstir and Tanginostor.
I wouldn't know.
The last sheaf of grain bundled in the harvest was credited with magical properties as the spirit of the harvest and saved the Yule celebrations, called among other things Jalboken, the Yule goat.
The J here is a Y. Yeah, Yule.
Jalboken, the Yule goat. A man-sized goat figure is known from the 18th century, remembers of Childermas, where it was led by a man dressed as Saint Nicholas, symbolizing his control over the devil.
There you go. So now we have a little bit more background. How does the Yule goat, so you were here earlier, Sylvia, how is the Yule goat similar or different to our Krampus character? The one that we saw here on the first page.
Okay, it's similar because there are monsters, both of them, but the other one was with a switch. And this
something
and
to
this one
is kids with.
And this one it's with a goat, so it's more like Santa Claus, because Santa Claus now has a chariot.
Yeah, he's got a sleigh. Sleigh. I'll put it in the chat window as well. So he's got a sleigh, and this guy has got a chariot. Santa Claus in the commercial version has reindeer, which look like this. Reindeer.
Yeah, reindeer. Yeah.
And he's got goats, so some similarities. Let's find out a little bit. I would say there's another too. This last line. This part about the ghost figure is known from the 11th century remembrances of Childermas. We'll take a look at that, where it was led by a man dressed as St. Nicholas, symbolizing his control over the devil. So, from everything we've read, everything sort of is coming together now in this one myth. I don't know about you, Sylvia, but I'm saying it kind of makes more sense now. We've got the harvest. The harvest ends. There's a kind of magic attributed to the end of the harvest, and the goats from the sleigh of the mythical figure, whatever, take on this property because they take on this property of evil as it becomes mixed in with Christianity. So it kind of makes sense. So for me, the big difference, tell me if you agree, to me the only difference is that the Krampus figure has turned from a goat to a human, but not 100% human. But he's still got the horns, and he's got the kind of goat-like features. So this is like probably a couple hundred years later. He's sort of a mixture of the goat figure and the human figure. I don't know. So I think it's interesting. It kind of comes together a little bit. Let's see. Mutaz, why don't you read? We're not going to read everything, but let's read a little bit more about our Yule goat and find out a bit more about him. Can you take this section here?
Who is I am or Jessica?
Sorry?
Or Sylvia? Or I am or Sylvia?
No, you, Mutaz. Why don't you take this next part?
Okay. So the function of the Yule goat has differed throughout.
Yeah, throughout
the ages in a Scandinavian tradition similar to wassailing.
I have no idea what that is. I don't know what wassailing is. I have no idea.
Yeah.
We'll find out in a moment.
Okay. Held at Elder Christmas, or that's there is hard words and new words for me.
That's true, but I'll help you. So, Christmas or Epiphany. Epiphany. Are you there, Mutaz? I lost you. We lost you, Mutaz. We can't hear you. Okay. I tried. I don't know what's happening. I think he lost his connection.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay, Sylvia?
Yes.
Yeah. I think we lost him. All right. Well, Mutaz, when you get your microphone working, say hello. I don't know if he disappeared or if his microphone stopped working. So, Sylvia, what do you think about all of this? Have you learned anything new? For me, the important thing that I noticed, see, he left. Oh, I love it when new people just come in and leave like that. It's really nice.
Maybe he has some problem.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's a connection problem. So what do you think? For me, the interesting thing is that in this last little article, it seems like we kind of find the root of all of these myths in some original myth from, like almost 1,000 years ago. And we can kind of get an idea of how these figures and traditions change throughout time. So that's what I find most interesting. I mean, about the origins, I find that interesting. What do you think about this? Is anything new for you?
Yeah.
Was it interesting?
Yes, for example, Krampus was new for me, even if they are here in the north of Italy.
Right.
But yes, they are really similar one to each other, and I think they all came from the Greek tales, something like this, because they are really similar. So they have some figures that they are not all animals and not all person. They are half and half. They are monster, and so I think they came from Greek.
But why Greek? Why do they have to be Greek? Why not Celtic or why not?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, could be Greek too, but there's these other cultures floating around. What were the other ones? Visigoths, as in the other ones that were here. So Greeks, the Visigoths. I wanted to ask Mutaz if anything sounded similar to his culture, but he left because the Moors, of course, were also here and in Italy, and it would be interesting to know if there's any similar figures in the mythology, in Arabic mythology too. So
I don't know nothing about Arabic mythology. Yeah, maybe they have.
Well, they have the thing that Shadow was talking about, but she said it's not really mythology. I forgot the name now. The jinn. Well, that is a little bit about some of the traditions. By the way, there's one more thing that was mentioned before, which I'd never heard of, so I'll share my screen with you. This wassailing. So here's a Wikipedia article. The tradition of wassailing falls into two categories: house visiting wassail and orchard visiting wassail. House visiting wassail, caroling. Ah, it's caroling. That's what it is. I've never heard that before. So because earlier, when we were reading this article, right, the function of the Yule goat has differed in Scandinavia, a tradition similar to wassailing, held at Christmas or the Epiphany. Young men in costumes would walk to the house singing songs. So I've never actually heard it called that before, or I heard it and didn't know what it was. So caroling, singing Christmas carols. And I've got one more here. This is another link. Let me close all these others here. This is another link from our links page, another tradition. This one, Joulupuki. So this is Finnish. Whenever it's got ukis at the end, ukis and makis, you know it's Finnish. They've got a lot of ukis and makis. So I think this is Joulupuki. It's a Finnish Christmas figure. The name Joulupuki literally means Christmas goat. Hey, that sounds familiar. Or Yule goat in Finnish. The word puki comes from the Teutonic root buck, which is the cognate of the English buck. Buck is like a deer. People go hunting for bucks. Puck, which means, so English buck, puck, and billy goat. In old Scandinavian custom, the figure eventually becomes more or less conflated with Santa Claus. So again, we've got this goat figure, but in this case, instead of becoming a separate character, it kind of joins with the Father Christmas character. So there you go. Well, that is about Christmas traditions.
There are a lot of Christmas traditions, all different.
I like the dark ones. I like the dark Christmas traditions, the scary ones. I only have a few discussion questions, but we talked about these a little bit. So in the end, having read this and looked at different cultures, why do demons, witches, and monsters haunt Europe during Christmas? So in the end, what do you think the answer is?
To scare children so they are quiet.
To scare children? Yeah, so to control the kids, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. And yeah,
they are bad, but not at all. So I don't know. It's a kind of Halloween, but we don't have Halloween. Okay, now we have Halloween, but before not. So it's really similar.
Absolutely. And what about the other thing that we mentioned earlier? So one thing was control, and the other thing was kind of freedom, liberation, chaos, mayhem, melee.
Yes, that's also true. And I know that in this period also we eat a lot because it's really cold, and so it was also an excuse. So it's something for.
And if we think back to like those early cultures celebrating the harvest, like attaching this mythology to the harvest, right? There was something magical about it. But after the harvest, there was no more work, right? I mean, everyone was going to be free anyway. So I think that part of it has to do with what happens after the harvest and the fact that there's no more work. And you can't, I mean, maybe there would be no point in trying to control the slaves and the feuds, the feudal system, the serfs, there'd be nothing to control them. There's no work to do. So instead of controlling them, on one hand, let's scare them to death, and on the other hand, let's give them what they want. but in a limited way. So it kind of has this both sides, which is really interesting. And the other question here is, why are these darker elements not present in American culture? So we read about the bell-snickle that was present for a period of time, brought over by the people who eventually became the Amish, brought over by these sort of Puritans. So why do you think that didn't last? Why do these things not exist in modern American culture?
Because they split in two. There is Halloween.
Ah. So Halloween got all the pagan stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
Could
then,
be. So we don't need it.
no, and we don't have also the Thanksgiving. And so they divide everything in more than one day, and they can celebrate more. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, it's kind of funny because, okay, Halloween is supposed to be the time of transformation, right? So everyone's wearing masks, and there's a kind of celebration of the end of stuff, death, but not so much death, but something like it. And then the gratitude part, the charity part is Thanksgiving and Christmas as well. And then the religious part is, I mean, it's as if they took one holiday and divided it up into three different ones. Thanksgiving is the strangest. It doesn't really make sense. It's a very strange holiday. Thanksgiving is when the Puritans celebrated, right, that they didn't perish in the winter. So they made some deals with the local Native Americans, and they helped them survive the winter. So they celebrated this, kind of truce that they had. But
I don't know why. I know that in US is different from Canada. In Canada is almost a month before, and it's weird.
What, in Canada they have Thanksgiving?
Yes, but it's a month before.
They do? Really? I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's strange. I never heard that. And it's this, but does it have the same root? It's from the Puritans. Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know
Look. You're right. I see it here. Thanksgiving in Canada. I never knew they had Thanksgiving. Who knew? You learn something new every day, Sylvia.
Yeah, because I was living with an American girl and a Canadian boy, and so they compare their tradition, and so I discovered that, okay, also in Canada there is Thanksgiving, but it's a month before, but it's almost the same because they eat a lot of turkey, and it's a family reunion.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look here in Wikipedia. Thanksgiving is in October. It's on the middle of October, actually. Who knew? Very interesting. So, what was I going to ask you? So, what do you think about these traditions? I mean, do you think that we should try to get back to some of the older traditions, that we shouldn't lose them? Do you think that the new traditions, what do you think? The new tradition is pretty commercial, isn't it?
Yeah, the new tradition is really commercial. Yeah, maybe we can take something of the older tradition. They are funny, they are scary. They scare people.
Scaring people is a good idea, I think.
Yeah.
So,
and they're less commercial.
Tell me what you would keep of the old traditions we've talked about. What would you like to see?
The monster.
Is that Krampus in the background?
Yes, it's very Krampus.
I hear.
That it's almost lunchtime. Yeah. Okay.
That's an example of wassailing.
Yes. It's terrible.
Wow, your dog is
He's calling me.
Your dog is a very good singer, Sylvia.
Yes.
Very good singer. So what would you keep? Let's end class on a historical note. What would you keep from the history that we've read about today? What would you like to see?
The monster who was sweeping all the people who are walking. So then go to the shop to take some present. They're horrible present, but it's funny.
I like it. I like it. I would keep the part where everyone changes social position, where the slaves become the masters, and the rich have to give to the poor. I like that part. What was the festival? The Saturn festival in Rome. I think it was Saturnus, was it?
Saturnia.
Yeah, Saturnia. I would bring that back. I think that's a great idea. One day, everyone has to wear masks, and they have to assume a different social position, but everyone stays anonymous. I think that's an important point. Everyone needs to keep the masks on. Are you with me on that, Sylvia? Everyone stays anonymous and wears masks?
Yes, it's a kind of a carnival.
Yeah, I think so. I think Carnival should start in October and should last until, around Easter. There should be like 3-4 months of Carnival every year. That would be my way to do it. Life should be a carnival. All right, I think we're going to have to stop at this point. So that's it for Hot Topics. I'll see you later today. By the way, just a quick question. Would it be a problem if I move you back 1 hour by any chance? Or is that...
No, it's fine. It's okay.
It's because my schedule actually completely changed because everyone's canceled and done strange things. So I need to actually run somewhere and do an errand. So if it's okay, I'm going to move you back, I don't know if half an hour or an hour, but move you back a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Put
me only the hour and it's fine.
All right. All right, well, for those of you out there watching, I hope you learned something about the dark side of Christmas. Stay safe from Krampus. Don't get whipped. And I'll be back on Monday for our business classes at 10, and I've got pronunciation at 9 GMT on Monday as well. Okay? Have a good Christmas, everyone, and I'll see you later, Sylvia. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.